What is more important to you? Validation from others or respecting yourself? For me, at least nowadays, it is the latter. Self-respect above all else, and it took a great deal of time before I realized that this was the only viable option. This path, the one I am currently walking, is the one where I am truly meant to be. I told you the story in a previous video or two, how back when I was in middle school, I sought to be popular. I tried running with the cool, or the popular crowd, and look how that turned out. It was the worst time of my life, and I cannot stop recalling how if I had just realized this lesson sooner, then the whole experience would have turned out differently. If I respected myself, and oh boy, I wish I did that much sooner, things would have been different. Thankfully, when I began high school, I woke up and went my own way, shaping my own path. I have not looked back ever since, and I do not regret that. I do not regret standing up for myself. Not ever. The only aspect I regret is how foolish I was. To put the need for validation above all else, that is what I wish I could change. Anyhow, enough about my past. I ask you now, what is more important to you and why? Is it the need for validation from other people, or is it your own self-respect? Which is more important? More paramount in your life? Comment below with your answers. I will talk about why respecting yourself is a far more worthwhile endeavor than pursuing any sort of validation from others. As what is usually customary, I urge you to listen to my comments, then contribute your own afterwards. Seeking validation from others always leads you to ruin. I am saying this because I know firsthand. Seeking validation always leads to your own personal destruction. Going back to my own experience, I found that when I sought that from others, I sacrificed who I was and what I stood for. I was even aware of it at times. I was self-aware of my own hypocrisy, my own contradictions. I would think to myself, you despise these people, yet you hang out with them, or you do not like to be in groups at all, yet you are in this one. So why is that? And I could not tell you an answer at the time, but I do know why at this moment in time. I saw the folly in my actions much later, and I excised myself from them as quickly as possible. As soon as I woke up, really. As soon as reality had set in, I returned to myself. I found that when I was seeking validation, my overall well-being tanked, as well as my attention on more important matters, such as my studies and sports. Seeking validation nearly ruined me, nearly transformed me into a monster, someone who I was not, and I am glad that I was saved. Saved from myself and saved from a disastrous situation that would have continued on a downward spiral. That is the lesson I learned from the whole experience, is that if you have to change yourself to fit in, then it is not worth it. Also, if you have to sacrifice your beliefs and what you stand for, then do not go through with it. Stay true to yourself and what you stand for. Have enough courage to say that I matter, my thoughts matter, and I am here for a reason. I exist for a special purpose, even if I do not know it yet. Have enough self-respect to not submit to those who deem you to be beneath them. Do not submit to those who do not deserve such an action in the first place. Stand up and fight for not only yourself, but what you believe in as well. Because if you do not stand up for yourself, who will do it for you? Yet also at the same time, self-respect is also knowing when not to engage. If you are provoked, it does not mean you have to respond. Have enough respect for yourself to know when to walk away, to know when walking away is the right option. Walk away to preserve yourself as well as your dignity. Getting goaded into pointless argumentation and debate, especially when all it is hurling insults at each other, then why bother? The path of self-respect is for those who walk away from those who seek to use you for their own ends. The people who choose self-respect over validation are the ones that go against the grain, that do not join in with the mob. When the mob says jump, most people ask how high, but people with strong feelings of self-worth and respect ask them why. Why should I jump at all? Why are we jumping in the first place? They question the reasoning behind what the mob does, and if it does not align with their beliefs, then they say, no way, I refuse to give in and I best be on my way. As a result of refusing to go along with what everyone else is doing or thinking, those who go down this route are often labeled as arrogant, cold, self-servient, and more. I say, accept the labels, because I'd rather be labeled as such in comparison to being called weak, follower, poser, and so on. I lead and take control of my life. I am in the driver's seat and I will not submit to the foolish thoughts, actions, demands, and trends of everyone else. If it does not align with my goals, my aspirations, and how I view I should act, then no, it is as simple as that. Taking care of yourself is necessary. Self-preservation is necessary in this world. We may not like that is the case, even now, but it is. It may not be primitive times anymore, but it is still survival of the fittest. The principle still applies. People do not realize it, but even though we try our best to help others, and even though we attempt to show compassion in a compassionless world, at the end of the day, most people are thinking about themselves and their families. What do I need to get to provide for myself, my family, and those I care about? How much money do I have to make to do that? How can I make more? How can I get ahead? How can I get to where I want to be in life? These are some typical thoughts that plague my mind on a daily basis, and I am sure that something similar afflicts your thought process as well. My point of it all is this: the world is cruel and will not get any better. It will only get worse as we go along. The question is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to ensure that you are well protected from its ills? How are you going to ensure that everything is all laid out, all the contingency plans are in place? Respect yourself, gentlemen, and never let anyone step all over you. Never let others dictate what you wish to do for your life. Never seek validation from others, no matter how little it may be, because in the end, all you will be left with is a fractured existence, a shattered heart, and an empty wallet. So those are all my thoughts for today's video. Now I ask you for your comments. What is more important to you, validation or self-respect, and why? Comment below with your answers. If you enjoyed the content, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and hit the bell for updates. Do you know of anyone else who may take a liking to this? If so, please share it with them, as it would help me out a great deal. Thank you for taking the time to watch.